Welcome back to the Flippant podcast. It is your captain speaking, Flippant. Today, you already see what we're flying. It's beautiful, and I forget where we're flying, so read the TV, read your monitor, because I am not looking at it right now. But I can tell you this place is beautiful. Go ahead and enjoy your scenery while we get to the show. Today, we're going to talk about accountability. All right? Accountability while I'm sitting here sipping my cherry Coke diet with a little bit of Jack Daniels in there. You know, the Tennessee whiskey. Let's go. So, accountability. It comes in only one form. And today we're going to talk specifically about women taking accountability for past relationships. It's no secret that women like bad boys. All right. And bad boys can either mean, somebody who's going to neglect women and, go out and do things things on their own. Like, let's say, riding a Harley, which is fun, by the way. If you haven't done it, I suggest you do so. And women love the fact that bad boys can ignore them for a long period of time and use them only for sexual purposes late at night. So that way women can feel like, oh, I'm going to finally change him. But you see, that man's not really ready to settle down because he's got so much access to other women. As soon as a woman starts to, let's say, not act right, he can always just leave and go find somebody else. Now, that's not the case for most men, right? Most men, we try hard for a girl, she doesn't like us. We try hard for a girl, she doesn't like us. And it's normally a woman that we can see ourselves with for, the rest of our lives. That's how most men are. You have a sight set on one woman and, you want her. So we don't think in this abundance mindset that you get that women normally have, or that, the bad boy normally has. But those guys who do think of the mindset of, I want to be with this girl for the rest of my life, you come to find out she doesn't want to be with you because she's too busy chasing the bad boy. All right. Which leads me to the accountability on women's side. Because now that, some of these women are finally ready to settle down, they have all this trauma from the bad boy. The bad boy might not be making all the money. The bad boy might not be, the most intelligent person. He's just, more stoic. He doesn't really say too much. He doesn't say just enough. He's always gone. He doesn't answer his phone for all the time. And he could be with another woman. So it makes the man who has been doing everything right, most of his life, getting a good job and, not going out there, has good dick discipline. And, he's not going out there having sex with everybody. It makes it harder on him because now he's got to deal with what the bad boy had left behind. All right. And I was watching this, I think it was Just Pearly Things earlier today. And, this woman was saying that, hey, we have these traumas from these guys that we were dating. How are we supposed to know that these guys are, are bad for us? How are we supposed to know that, that they're going to be abusive later on down the road? How are we supposed to know these things? Well, take a look at his track record. If you're a woman and you're waiting for this, this man to, finish his business with another woman just so you can have a turn at him, that might not be the woman for you. And might I say that, if you lowered your standards on men, like just their looks alone, women might turn out to be more, they might turn out to be more successful at finding a relationship where they're not being abused. Now, along with this, I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, somebody very close to me. He was saying that he worked at a battered women's shelter. All right. Now, mind you, let me preface this before I say it, that I don't think anybody should be abused. I don't think anybody should have hands put on them. Now, mind you, I never said I don't think anybody, mind you, I didn't say I don't think that, people don't deserve what's coming to them in the form of, physical violence, such as a backhand. But, if I'm not gonna retract what I just said. But, moving forward, he was talking about a battered woman shelter where, you have a woman shelter full of battered women, of course. And today I find that to be very like that should go out of business, the battered woman shelter, because you can see, or excuse me, let me go back. The battered woman shelter should go out of business because, these women tend to go back to these men that they find to be, highly attractive. They go back to them. So what'd you do? You gave this woman a place to stay for the night, and did you educate her on, how, she shouldn't go back to the man, how she should, draw up a police report, especially if it gets really bad. And I hope that, one day I will one day sit down with my daughter and tell her about how men are supposed to act towards you, like how I act towards my daughter, how I act towards my wife, but as I'm talking about it now, I realize that, I've said some of these things before to women that, I considered friends, and they really don't care about what you have to say. They just want to complain about this man who put hands on her, for the past 2 years, but she's always going to go back to him. So I found myself kind of waiting on these women to come to their senses. And, obviously I don't do that anymore. I'm 30 years old. I'm a lot wiser, at least I would like to think. And, if I found a woman attractive and she doesn't want to, she doesn't find me that way, she doesn't find me attractive, then I would move on. A message to all the young men out there: move on if they don't. But see, the thing is, bringing it all back to this accountability, bringing this back to the accountability portion of it. Realize that women aren't going to take accountability for their actions in relationships, or for the relationships that they want, for the men that they choose to spend their time with. They're never going to take accountability for that. That lesson has to get taught whenever they're little girls, all the way up until their teenage years. And the dad has to be in the picture. And there's not one man out here who is going to be able to tell a woman that hasn't taken accountability before to start taking accountability today. You've heard women talk. They don't think it's their fault for them being in relationships with men that are abusive, or so they say. Now, there's another video that I watched, and there was a woman talking about, what'd she say? She said, "I didn't choose to be a single mother." I was like, okay, all right, this woman's going to make me cuss. I was like, that's probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard. The dumbest thing I've ever heard. It was like, well, you're the one that, wasn't on contraception. And if you were, even before we even get to contraception, you picked that man to sleep with. You picked that man. Take accountability. You just now found out that, this dude who's got 5 baby mamas, that he doesn't like taking care of his kids. Oh, wow. That's tough. I hear a story like that, and I instantly, my brain shuts off. I don't comment. I just walk away from the conversation. I spent too many years talking to these women, telling them, they're like, well, why would you? And then it all falls on deaf ears. They just want somebody to complain to. Look, I'm not going to let a woman put me in a friend zone like that, where she could just, tell me all the problems that she's having with, the dude she finds more attractive. Right? I'm not gonna, I'd rather be the dude, you know what I'm saying, that she finds more attractive. And if it's not there, it's not there. You're not gonna sit here and run my ears. That costs money. And since, I'm starting up a consulting business, you're gonna have to pay me for my time. That way, at least I know I'm getting something for sitting here being the decent man. That way I'm getting something, right? Oh. And this has been another episode of the Flippant podcast. All right. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and share with all your friends, including the people that, if you got that one guy friend who is constantly in the friend zone with women who are in these quote unquote abusive relationships, let them see this video. All right. Let them see it. Because I might be saying something that, is going to pull his head out of his ass for a couple of seconds, so he can finally figure out that, hey, man, move on. You're going to get her whenever she's all used up and emotions are all done. She ain't gonna love you after that. She spent all of her time loving this dude, and even if you were able to pull her into another better situation, she's still going to love that dude. Like I said, stop fighting this. Don't fight this. If they didn't learn it whenever they were little girls, they're not going to get it now. And if they do get it, they're probably over 45 years old. Cool? Cool. It has been your boy Flippant. If you have nothing for me, I have nothing for you, and I'll see you in the next one.